The Young and the Restless Spoilers, the encounter that changed everything. Los Angeles basked under a golden sunset, the city alive with its characteristic buzz. Amid the hum of conversation and the aroma of fresh coffee, Damian sat at a corner table in a cozy cafe, his fingers absently tracing the rim of his cup. His dark, contemplative eyes stared into the swirling depths of his drink, as if seeking answers to questions he hadn't yet asked. The chime of the cafe door interrupted his reverie. A man in his early 30s entered, exuding an aura of quiet confidence. Nate. Damian had been contacted out of the blue, a stranger claiming to be his brother. At first, Damian thought it was a cruel joke. A sibling? He had grown up believing he was alone in the world. Yet here was this man, reaching out with a story so earnest it was hard to ignore. Nate approached the table, a cautious but warm smile on his face. "Damian," he asked. Damian nodded, motioning for him to sit. They exchanged pleasantries, but the weight of their purpose hung heavy in the air. Nate wasted no time diving into the heart of the matter. "I know this is a lot to take in," Nate began, his tone measured, "but I wanted to meet you in person. To tell you the truth about who we are, where we come from." Damian leaned back, his skepticism clear. "And you're saying we're brothers? Just like that?" "Not just like that," Nate said earnestly. "I've been searching for you for months. Our paths were never meant to cross, but here we are. I wanted to meet you, to let you know you have family." The conversation stretched long into the evening, the hum of the cafe fading into the background as the two men delved into their shared history, or lack thereof. Damian listened, equal parts intrigued and wary, as Nate spoke of Genoa City, a town Damian had never heard of, and the family Damian didn't know existed. "You should come to Genoa," Nate said eventually, leaning forward with an air of conviction. "Meet the people who care about you. Start fresh." Damian chuckled humorlessly. "Start fresh? I don't even know where to begin. My life is a mess, to put it lightly. No family, no career to speak of. And now you're asking me to jump into a life I know nothing about?" "I get it," Nate replied. "It's overwhelming. But you won't be doing it alone. I'm here, and so is our family. I can introduce you to our mother." At the mention of their mother, Damian's defenses wavered. He had spent his entire life wondering about the woman who brought him into the world, though he would never admit it aloud. The thought of meeting her, of putting a face to the mystery, was both thrilling and terrifying. "What's she like?" Damian asked cautiously, his voice betraying his curiosity. "She's incredible," Nate said with a soft smile. "Strong, loving, and she's been waiting for this moment as much as I have." Damian stared at his now cold coffee, his thoughts a whirlwind. He had nothing anchoring him to Los Angeles. His job was unfulfilling, his social circle transient. The idea of leaving felt daunting, yet oddly liberating. A part of him wanted to resist, to stay in the familiar discomfort of his current life. But the chance to uncover a new part of himself, to connect with someone who shared his blood, was a pull too strong to ignore. "All right," Damian said finally, his voice steady but tinged with uncertainty. "I'll go. But I'm not making any promises. I'll meet her, see what this is all about, and then we'll see." Nate's smile widened, relief evident in his expression. "That's all I'm asking. Trust me, Damian. You won't regret it." A journey into the unknown. The drive to Genoa City was long, giving Damian ample time to second-guess his decision. Nate filled the silence with stories of their family, painting a picture of a life Damian could hardly imagine. It was strange, hearing about traditions he hadn't been a part of, inside jokes he didn't understand, and a home he had never seen. When they finally arrived, Damian's nerves were a cacophony. The house was modest but warm, a place that radiated comfort. Nate led the way, his excitement palpable. As they stepped inside, a woman appeared in the doorway, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "Damian," she whispered, her voice trembling. The woman was elegant, with an air of quiet strength. Damian felt an inexplicable connection, though he couldn't pinpoint why. She approached cautiously, as if afraid he might vanish. "I've waited so long for this moment," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "To see you, to hold you." Damian's walls crumbled as she embraced him. It was an unfamiliar warmth, but one he didn't realize he had been yearning for. A new beginning. Over the following days, Damian found himself gradually opening up. He explored Genoa City with Nate, meeting extended family and learning about their lives. It wasn't easy, there were moments of awkwardness and doubt. Yet, with each passing day, Damian felt a little more at home. His life in Los Angeles had been a blur of monotony and uncertainty. But here, in Genoa City, surrounded by family, he saw the possibility of something more. A life filled with connection, purpose, and belonging. As the days turned into weeks, Damian made his decision. This wasn't just a visit, it was a chance to rebuild. To embrace the family he never knew he had and to carve out a new path for himself. And for the first time in a long while, Damian felt like he was exactly where he was meant to be. The call that shook everything. In the quiet comfort of her home, Amy sat by the window, gazing absent-mindedly at the falling rain. Her phone buzzed, the name Nate flashing on the screen. Her heart skipped a beat. She had been waiting for this call, hoping and praying for news about Damian. "Hello?" Amy answered, her voice trembling with anticipation. On the other end, Nate's voice was steady but laced with emotion. "Mom, we found him. I found Damian." Amy's breath hitched, and the tears came before she could stop them. You found him?" Her voice cracked as she clutched the phone tighter. "Where is he? Is he okay? I need to see him right now." "He's here in Los Angeles," Nate replied, his tone measured to calm her down. "But Mom, you can't come yet. He's overwhelmed. Everything is happening so fast for him, and I don't want to scare him off. Let me work with him for a little while, ease him into this. I promise, he'll come to Genoa City soon." "But, Nate," Amy protested, desperation coloring her words. "I've waited so long for this moment. How can I not see him now? Please, Mom. Trust me," Nate pleaded. "The last thing I want is for Damian to feel cornered. Let me handle this. He's agreed to come, just give him a little time." Amy exhaled shakily, wiping her tears. "All right," she said reluctantly. "But promise me, Nate. Promise me you'll bring him home." "I will," Nate reassured her. "I promise." The seeds of doubt. While Amy's heart brimmed with hope, not everyone shared her optimism. In the sleek, modern office of Chancellor Winters, Devon Hamilton stood by the window, his sharp gaze fixed on the horizon. The news of Damian's sudden appearance didn't sit well with him. "Something about this feels off," Devon said aloud, more to himself than anyone else. His assistant, Audra Charles, stood nearby, her expression attentive but neutral. "You think it's a setup?" Audra asked, tilting her head slightly. "I don't know," Devon admitted, turning to face her. "But I've learned to trust my instincts. What if Damian and Amy are in this together? What if this is some elaborate trap for Nate? I can't afford to let him fall into something dangerous." Audra crossed her arms thoughtfully. "Nate seems pretty confident about this. Maybe he's right, and Damian just needs time to adjust." "Maybe," Devon said, his voice laced with skepticism. "But I'm not taking any chances. Keep an eye on Nate. If anything feels off, anything at all, I want to know about it." "Understood," Audra replied smoothly. "I'll make sure he's not blindsided." Devon nodded, his jaw tightening. "Good. Because if Damian and Amy are playing games, there's no way I'm letting them get away with it." Nate's balancing act. Back in Los Angeles, Nate was doing everything in his power to make Damian feel at ease. They spent hours talking, exploring the city, and getting to know each other. Nate knew that pushing Damian too hard could backfire, so he took a cautious approach, allowing his brother to set the pace. Damian, for his part, was torn. He appreciated Nate's efforts and found himself drawn to the idea of family. But doubts lingered. What if he didn't fit in? What if he wasn't who they wanted him to be? "You've got this," Nate told him one evening as they sat on a rooftop overlooking the city lights. "You're stronger than you think. And you're not alone anymore." Damian offered a faint smile. "We'll see." Unseen observers unbeknownst to Nate and Damian, Devon's doubts had set a quiet chain of surveillance into motion. Audra worked discreetly, keeping tabs on Nate's activities and gathering information about Damian. She reported back to Devon regularly, feeding his suspicions and ensuring he remained in control of the situation. Devon wasn't heartless, he wanted to believe in the possibility of a genuine reunion for Nate and Amy. But he couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that something was amiss. Until he had proof otherwise, he would remain on high alert, ready to step in if things went south. The stage is set as the days passed, the pieces began falling into place. Damian started to warm up to the idea of going to Genoa City, curious about the life he had never known. Amy, despite her impatience, waited anxiously, clinging to Nate's promises. And Devon, ever the skeptic, watched from the sidelines, determined to protect his family from potential betrayal. The journey to Genoa City was imminent, but what awaited them there was uncertain. Would Damian find the sense of belonging he had always craved? Would Amy's dreams of a family reunion come true? Or would Devon's suspicions prove valid, unraveling everything before it even began? One thing was certain, the story of Damian's return was only just beginning, and the road ahead would be anything but smooth.